All right, enough of Madrid. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go.
Jules isn't here to enjoy the moment, Robbo, so I'll chuck it to you. Liverpool are out of the Champions League, beaten on penalties by Paris Saint-Germain. Fair result over the two legs?
Yes, because the first leg, PSG were far more dominant than Liverpool were in the second leg. Liverpool had a great little spell at the start of the game. They played some intense football. Arne Slot said it was one of the best games he's ever been involved in. I think he was actually talking about his own team for that 20 minutes. Salah had one shot deflected. But over the course of the two legs, I thought PSG were the better side. So a fair result.
Yeah, no argument. I think what Luis Enrique there is doing is really, really special. Are Liverpool, I've made the point, do they look a little bit not as sharp and a little bit tired? I'm not just talking about over these two legs. I'm not taking anything away, but we're seeing this in the league as well, right?
Yeah, I remember they were 1-0 down to Southampton for a while.
And is it because he's played essentially the same people in 7 or 8 positions all year long?
Over the course of a season, when you're playing as many games as they're playing and you haven't changed it that much, you're going to have times where you're going to be tired. And at the moment, Liverpool are getting through games. They weren't able to get through this one, but they're doing well enough to win the title, obviously.
Their season's pretty much over after Sunday, right?
Sunday's a massive game for them, and hopefully they carry on and go and win the league because they've been the best team in England so far.
Yeah, Sunday is the League Cup final, for those who don't know. A word on Paris Saint-Germain and Luis Enrique. I did not expect him to, given the ups and downs and the stops and starts that he's had, to be able to get, they play with such physicality and energy to go with the quality and the youth.
Well,
that's difficult to do.
At the start of the campaign, I saw them at Arsenal. I saw them playing a couple of games, and I thought, they're a poor side. They're doing everything that he did with Spain, passing it too much, no penetration. And suddenly, we're seeing pace, we're seeing counter-attack, the forward passes, forward movement. They've been brilliant. So he's done a very good job over a short space of time. Now, sticking with that game, Gab, what did you make of Van Dijk saying he has no idea if he'll be staying at Anfield next season?
I make of it that he's honest, that he hasn't signed his contract yet. And I think we knew that. I like it when people are honest and transparent about the stuff. I don't think it's controversial. I don't think he's putting pressure on the club. He's just being honest.
I don't know.
And you know what? I think sometimes we need to applaud that. Players who are professional like that. Barcelona are also through, destroying Benfica 3-1 in Montjuic. Robbo, they look pretty convincing to me. And how about that Lamine Yamal finish?
It's absolutely brilliant. But mind you, not surprised. We've seen it so many times over the last year and a half. He came inside. Everybody knows what he's going to do. And if you saw the technique, he didn't actually strike it that hard. Or he didn't try and strike it that hard. He just wrapped his foot round it. He got his standing foot off the ground. And it had enough power on it. It was accurate. He's just an outstanding player. For somebody so young, it's amazing.
The pass for the first goal, when I first saw that, I thought, did he shanked it.
He did.
He did miss it.
He missed it. He missed it. All right. He was trying to bend it in the corner, and it came off the wrong part of his foot.
I wanted to check with you, but
because it bent the wrong way.
And I thought at 1-1, I thought there was a reaction from Benfica.
Yeah.
But yeah, Barcelona saw the game out, and I think again they show maturity. This builds confidence.
Barcelona are the most exciting team to watch, and I do them nearly every week. They have problems defensively because they play this high line, which is incredible. But on the ball, they are a joy to watch. Absolute joy.
And Flick would say, yeah, but the high line is what allows us to be so successful and score so many goals at the other end.
Absolutely.
All right.
Now, Borussia Dortmund are also through, despite Jonathan David's early goal putting Lille ahead. Gab, did they get lucky with or unlucky with the penalty call?
I thought Lille were really unlucky. The referee, Sandro Schaefer, he was very well paid, placed to see this. But
well paid.
Well placed. Thank you. But he calls it a penalty straight away, and the VAR check is over straight away. This was Thomas Meunier on Guirassy. Guirassy a big, strong guy, and then you send somebody off for that. I thought that completely changed the game. Plus the goalkeeper's there. Dortmund, they're in the bottom half of the Bundesliga, and again they're up there.
But the team isn't that much different from the team that got to the Champions League final last year. They've just had a terrible season.
Well, they have a different center forward, and they got Valdemar Anton and so on, and they have a different coach. But yeah, I think They're still not playing well. They're still not looking convincing to me, at least. All right, Robbo, we're not done. We have more quick hits. No miracles at the Bayer Arena, Robbo. In fact, Bayer Leverkusen fall 2-0 at home to Bayern. Robbo, did Xabi Alonso tarnish his reputation a bit, like Mark Ogden suggests, with some of his choices over the two legs?
Yes, to a certain degree. He did some strange things.
I mean, Adley at centre forward.
Yeah,
do it for you.
I mean, in the games against Bayern before, he'd never played with a centre forward in the 3 games prior to these Champions League games, and he'd got a couple of results. They didn't play particularly well in the first one. The game where they played very well was the 0-0 draw, where they pressed the ball and everyone was saying, well, he's got to play with a centre forward. They need to win this game, but they didn't finish off particularly well. He was hamstrung in the second game, no doubts. I mean, that was a big blow for them. But the goalkeeper changed for the first game. Why that? Radetzky's the actual club captain, and he changed that. The goalkeeper obviously makes a blunder. Taps over, not playing. Kovac played.
Mukiele getting sent off.
Yeah, it was a shocking performance last week. It wasn't much better this week. So you just see the falling off. Yeah.
I mean, look, I was under no illusion of seeing him come back, but it just felt a little grim. Like it felt like Bayern.
There was a lot of ill discipline over the 2 games, I would say. Now, sticking with that game, Gab, you wrote about how Bayern could actually win this despite not being particularly good.
Yeah, I think it's remarkable. I don't know what it says. I don't know if it says that the nature of German football and Bayern's sort of built-in advantages are such that even when they're not good, then they're still going to be successful. But this is the reality. Bayern have a pretty good draw. I don't know if I'm picking them. I think with Inter it's 50-50. I think Barcelona, I think they can trip them up. And of course, the final's at home. Now, just imagine if Vincent Kompany, who was 8th choice, 9th choice to be the manager, what happens if he ends up winning a league and Champions League double? It's not mad.
No.
And before people jump on me talking about Bayern not being particularly good this year, they've had so much stuff going on. Other than Elise, there are other summer signings. Palinha's either been injured or not good.
Yeah.
Ito was injured, and he just came back last month. Kimmich still hasn't signed his contract. You assume it was going to be done. Musiala has been really good when he's been good, but he's also had his injuries and stuff. He's been slowed down. So I think a lot of people are kind of sleeping on Bayern a little bit. And I don't know that Bayern have done anything really worthwhile or spectacular this year other than get the results and be where they are. And I don't know. Don't write them off, man.
Nope.
Bruges go down to 10 men inside of 20 minutes, and it's all downhill against Aston Villa from there as they go on to win 3-0. But Robbo, Villa got a lot better when Marco Asensio came on to replace Ollie Watkins at halftime.
Yeah, because Brugge were down to 10 men, and they didn't make the most of it in the first half. Because Brugge got players behind the ball, they defended well enough. But Marco Asensio coming on just gave them. He didn't play, I wouldn't say, as an out-and-out centre forward. He played slightly deeper. He worked well with Rashford down the left-hand side. He made the right runs at the right time. And they looked a better team, and they started to dominate the game because he went slightly deeper to create an overload in midfield. And then they controlled the ball, and then they created more chances, and they had the pace down both sides of the field. So, yes, they looked a much better team when he came on. That's not saying that Ollie Watkins isn't a good player, and I wouldn't have him in my team. But on that performance, it changed it when he did come on.
Yeah. So Monday I had a whole ding-dong with Jules over the fact that Arteta wouldn't answer the question about whether it was a mistake not bringing in another forward. People said it was about money, but then they had money for Ollie Watkins. And I just look at the number of players who went on loan who could do a better job at center forward than freaking Michael Marino, because that's not his position.
Yeah.
And wow. Anyway.
Now, Inter beat Feyenoord 2-1 to set up a quarter-final tie with Bayern Munich, the team that you think might actually win it. Gab, how far can Inter go in the Champions League? Not very far, because you say Bayern are going to win it.
There you go. You should be on social media. I'm shocked that you aren't. I think a lot is going to depend, and this is another one of the reasons why you kind of like Bayern's chances. Inter, as Simone Inzaghi says, they're going for the quadruple, right?
Is why he rested a lot of players in this game?
Well, no, but the point is they have a really tough run. They're trying to win the Serie A title. They've got a derby in the Coppa Italia against Milan. This is an older squad, which he manages really well with a ton of rotation. But it's still an older squad. And by the way, Barcelona have the same issue. They're not an older squad, obviously, but they're also competing on 3 different fronts. I think a lot's going to depend on what they get out of Çalhanoğlu. I think tactically Inter can match anybody, and they can kind of deaden
Shananolu as a creative player or as a defensive player? Because he plays a very important role, doesn't he?
I think as a creative midfielder lying deeper, and he's been playing with injuries and painkillers. And I don't know how sustainable that is between there and the end of the season. We also saw what happens when the wing backs all get hurt. Fede Di Marco, of course, is going to be back, but still, it's a knock. And but yeah, I think they're out there. I mean, they were in the Champions League final 2 years ago. Most of the team is still there. The coach is still there. Why not? Robbo, shockingly, PSV Eindhoven do not overturn that 7-1 first leg deficit, but they do end up drawing 2-2 at Arsenal. Both teams made a bunch of changes, and Raheem Sterling got the man of the match. Should he be getting a little more attention from Mikel Arteta?
I think he will after this game get more attention because he did play well. He created was assists for both the goals. He played on the right wing and went past people.
He nearly scored the winner.
Nearly scored the winner. He looked as though he played with pace. The reason that he hasn't had more attention is because when he's had his chance, he hasn't played particularly well. And the crowd have got onto him a little bit, as they did at Chelsea. But that would give him confidence. And you can see the other players were quite pleased with the performance of Sterling, so they all got round him as well. So I think he'll get more attention from now on.
And should he be getting attention at centre forward, possibly?
When you play Marino at centre forward, Sterling has to be a better option, I would have thought.